Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we are going to be getting into my top 10 favorite movies of 2016. Now, I've kind of saved this for the beginning of 2017, and in honor of getting into a new year, I thought it'd be best to talk about the movies that came prior to this year. Let's get into some of the rules for this video, and that's going to be A, if I gave a grade to a film that would be for instance, I gave a film a B plus and another film an A minus, and I put the B plus film on top of the A minus film. It just shows the grades on this list do not matter at all. And you also might be thinking, why am I wearing a sweat jacket? I'll save that for later for why I'm wearing a sweat jacket. Also, if there's a film that I didn't talk about that you probably wanted me to put on the list, that's because this is my list. I put what I've seen onto the list that I really loved or had a great time with from the theater or wherever I saw it. And also, one other thing to note, I just started this year in, I think it was early September or so. Somewhere around there. My first video was Blair Witch. This list might be very limited for what I can talk about, but it is what it is. Sorry. Without further ado, let's get into the list. Starting off with number 10, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Now this film is something I wasn't sure I should be excited for or not, simply because I wasn't sure if it was going to be good like Force Awakens or the original trilogy, anything like that, but I was surprised to see how good this movie was. I did a review for this movie, and it's on my channel, so go check it out. It's a very fun movie, and I had a fantastic time seeing it. I also saw it at a Thursday night showing the day before it came out. I also saw it in 3D, so it was pretty cool. Next on the list, we have number 9, The Witch. Now, The Witch is a movie that I didn't see in the theater. This is a movie that I saw a couple days ago, and when I saw it, I wasn't sure what it was going to be at all, but it surprised me, and I was very pleased to know that this film wasn't relying on jump scares at all. I believe there are 0 jump scares in the movie, which is a big plus for horror movies. It just shows that jump scares don't need to exist for a horror film to be great. Moving on, let's get into number 8, and that is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Now this movie, just like Rogue One, I wasn't sure if I was be excited for it. I wasn't the biggest fan of the trailers, but when I saw the movie, it felt like a completely different tone from the trailers and what I thought it would be, because the trailers look kind of dark and you're not really sure what's going to happen, which I like that part. But also, when you see the Fantastic Beasts on the screen, it's quite possibly Harry Potter meets Jurassic Park. Who would have thought that would have happened? Number 7 is a film that I saw in a very small theater, but still in the same theater that I usually go to, and that is Moonlight. Now, Moonlight is a coming-to-age story, and if you haven't seen it, I won't spoil anything, but this movie focuses on one person, and it goes through 3 different acts, and it just shows you what he's going through. That's basically what it is. It is a coming-to-age story, and I really thought it was a great film, but not so much a rewatchable film, which is why it's not higher on the list. But I do think that if you come across this movie, you should definitely check it out. Number 6 is a film that I haven't really seen on anyone's top 10 list, or at least the ones that I've seen, and that is Doctor Strange. Now, I actually enjoyed this movie more than most people have, I think. So, because of that, I think that this movie should get a little more attention than that it's getting. I do think it's one of the better films in the MCU, and it kind of goes to show that it can take some darker elements into this universe, because they've been kind of like tongue-in-cheek, but I'm not saying that's a negative, but I'm glad to see that they're not afraid to go in different directions, and that was also pretty cool to see. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And I have a review for that on my channel. Number 5 on the list is a big surprise this year, and that is The Edge of 17. Now, I wasn't sure if I should see this movie because I saw some ads on it, and when I actually went to the theater, There was barely anyone there, but I was surprised to see how great this movie was. The character of Nadine kind of felt like me at times. Not so much a nerd in high school, but someone who just didn't get much attention at all, which is kind of like me, how I was in high school. But in all honesty, this film really, if you're like a person who doesn't really get a lot of attention, this film also shows that you don't have to be alone, and people do understand you, but in all honesty, I just think you should watch it. It's a great movie. Coming in at number 4 is a film that I have not reviewed on this channel, but I saw it when it came out, and that is Captain America Civil War. Now, this film, I do not think it's better than Winter Soldier, personally, but I do think it is still a great movie, and it's basically Batman vs. Superman for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or the Avengers franchise as I like to call it, but done right. Whereas Batman vs. Superman, I enjoyed certain aspects. I think all the DC Extended Universe films are average, but this film knows what it should be, and it delivers what you want it to be. And Spider-Man in this movie is something I'm very excited for when Homecoming comes out. Number 3 is The Accountant. Now, this is a movie that focuses on a guy, Christian Wolf, who's autistic, and I had a great time with this movie, and it also shows that people can understand you. I feel like I'm repeating myself from what I said for The Edge of 17, but this is how I feel, so I gotta put it in. The only difference between Edge of 17 and The Accountant is The Accountant focuses on a man who's autistic, and The Edge of 17 is just a regular girl in high school that doesn't have a lot of attention, and that's mostly the biggest difference between the two that I can think off the top of my head. But if you haven't seen The Accountant, I strongly recommend it. He's autistic, I'm autistic. The only thing I can, it's not something that's needed in the movie, but I'm just wondering why he wasn't, Christian Wolf wasn't walking more in the movie, because that's what we do. Number 2 is Hacksaw Ridge. Now, this is a film that I think brought Mel Gibson as a director into a great start after, I'm not sure how long he's been away from Hollywood or directing or starring or any of that. I haven't really bothered to look into that. This is actually the first Mel Gibson directed movie I've seen, but this is a great one. It focuses on Desmond Doss, and it shows that if you have a different belief than other people, then if you keep pushing forward, eventually people are going to accept you for who you are. And that's something that I really appreciated, and it captured very well. And if you haven't seen Hacksaw Ridge, check it out. And finally, number 1 on the list is actually under here. And that is Deadpool. Deadpool is my favorite movie of 2016. This is a film in which I had the most fun with. I have not a single issue with this film. Even though the plot is basically something you've seen before, I feel as if it works for this film. This film, for every joke it made, I laughed, and as the film progressed, it got better and better and better, and I watched it again, and nothing's changed. It's still perfect the way it is, and I wouldn't change a single thing in this film, and I am very excited for what they're going to do with this sequel. And I also think Ryan Reynolds has finally gotten a movie in which he can not just redeem himself, but he can be a part of. That's great. So there you have it. There's my top 10 list. Now you know what my favorite films of the year are. And be on the lookout for a special video that'll be coming to you very soon. It's not going to be a top 10 worst of the year because I didn't see enough terrible films. But I have something to say about 2016 in general, and 2015 in a way. That's a little hint. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe. And until next time, guys, I will see you when I post the next video up.